Good afternoon. Again, this is Bob Purdon, and I want to take a few minutes this afternoon to remind us about the importance of the, first of all, mental approach to the business. And that should be trained, we should be trained to know that most customers are not going to be in the position to buy the first time in. But recognizing the fact that if we do a good job and give them the same treatment and process that we would have given a buyer, that we will be automatically improving our first time closing percent, but also enhancing the flow of customers coming back to us, because in their visit, they were surprised by the way we were proactive, the attitude we had, and the fact that we spent the time with them, whether they were buying or not, to go the distance and cover as much as we could for them. Knowing that we're not concerned about whether they first buy or not, we're concerned about first them selecting an automobile, that whether they're a buyer or not does not cost them anything to say that's the one I like. But I have to be careful in positioning them properly and staying away from subjects that will cause a derail in the interview itself. So first of all, when I meet the customers, we talk about the importance of meeting them properly, because their name is their most important possession. And approaching the name properly, handing our business card right away so they get to know us, and writing their name down right away so they really will know who they're talking to and use it as a reference today and if not later. But now, during the greeting particularly, comes one of the slipperiest slopes of all, and that is the preparation that the people have made to come to a dealership. Most visits to a dealership are prepared by the customer. They don't say, oh, by the way, let's go in and just see cars. They prepare for it. And they also prepare sometimes in what they are going to say to us when they come in. If we do not handle their incoming statements properly, the transaction is probably going to be mentally sabotaged, because the product specialist will probably not want to go the distance, because he or she is dealing with the proverbial but actual non-buyer. So they like to have a buyer, wouldn't we all? But it doesn't happen that way in the majority of interviews. But what does happen is the customer making statements. And I'm going to review these statements with you. Oh, folks, yeah, we're just looking. Yeah, we just want a brochure to take a look at the automobiles. We're shopping. We just dropped by to take a peek. We were over at the mall. In fact, I'm waiting for my wife at the mall. So I thought I'd drop over and take a peek at what you have. Yeah, we wonder when the new models will be out. We're waiting to take a peek at them. Well, my son and daughter are getting to the age where they can drive, and I'm trying to find the right vehicle for them. We haven't purchased a vehicle in quite a while, so we are really looking and comparing the different brands before we do anything. I just dropped by to take a peek and get a brochure because I don't have a lot of time. Well, I don't even know if I can buy or not, because I haven't had the vehicle that long. I've had it 12 months, but I've taken a long-term loan out, and I still think I owe a lot of money. Too much. Is Bill Johnson here? Oh, he isn't, huh? Oh, for crying out loud. That's too bad. He doesn't work here anymore. As I look at these automobiles, can you tell me what the payments would be on these cars? In fact, what can I buy them for? I first want to know what my trade's worth before I do anything. I really want to know what I'm dealing with here. What's the message that is sent out to the wrong person, wrong product specialist? The message is, don't have much to deal with. Don't have a lot to work with. So what do? They listen to the face value of the comment and determine on the face value of the comment that this interview is going nowhere. And this is the type of conversation that is what they're listening to all the time. And if you and I were mispositioned properly when we hear these comments all the time, what's going to happen to us? We're going to become negative and start to critique the customers and tactfully walk away from them by saying, well, why don't you folks take a peek? If you have any questions, I'll be available. Yeah. Every one of those statements were probably prepared. And if I listen to the actual meaning of those statements, I'm going to turn off because I'm going to believe I don't have that much to work with. But yet, we want to share something with everyone. These statements are a protective device. They really don't have a meaning. They prepared to say that because they didn't want to get, quote, overly involved. So they want to keep us at a distance, at least initially. And when we tend to turn off a little bit, because they can tell when we're losing interest also, the deal starts to disintegrate. So what is the technique of allowing the customers to move forward in a positive way? The technique is to respond to those statements by saying, I understand. Now, when I said, I understand, what did I say? I heard you. I did not say I agree with them at all. I said, I understand. What they don't know is that I expected this kind of a statement anyway in some form or fashion. This is the opening of an interview. And I have found that if I turn negative, I'm going to lose all kinds of momentum with them, for them, and the deal will start to go south on me. So I have to first understand that I have to react, obviously, for the customer, and I have to deflect those statements for the customer so that I can get back to the actual reason for them being here and me being here, which is what? Let's find a vehicle they like. Let's select a vehicle. So after they've made these, quote, non-buy statements, and I have said, I understand, the next thing I'm going to say is, what type of vehicle are you looking for? That's correct. First, I understand, folks, but what type of vehicle are you looking for? What features do you desire? That's not equipment. That means room, comfort, what have you. So I'm going to ask the most important first step questions to the customer. What type of vehicle you're looking for? I understand where you're coming from. I'm not saying I'm agreeing, I understand. And the next thing I'm going to say is what type of vehicle you're looking for. And follow that up with features. Not equipment, features, meaning room, comfort, performance, style. What's the broad scope of what the interest is? Now, if they know exactly what they're looking for, great. We'll start to take the next step towards the product. But if they're not sure what they're looking for, what am I going to do? I'm going to say, quote, follow me. And then I'm going to lead the customers over to a comfortable position in the showroom, on the showroom, if you will, so that we can counsel with them. And I may take a piece of paper, notepad, what have you, and I may sit down with these people and start to identify what their background is, what they're driving, what did they like about it, what would they like to carry with the next vehicle, what is it they're looking for. So I want to spend the time, a few minutes, not walking the inventory, going on a Disneyland tour. I don't have the license to do that because I don't know what they're looking for or their wants and needs, or I haven't helped them figure it out. So I'm a counselor as much as anything in these first few minutes. And I'm being effective. So they're going to know what they're looking for, or they're not going to know what they're looking for. If they know what they're looking for, I'm going to move towards a representative model. If they don't know what they're looking for, I am going to say, follow me and sit the people down so that we can counsel with them to find out what their wants and needs are, so that we can eventually show them what they might want. This is most important, because this is how the interview takes off in a positive direction, because we know that selection of an automobile is the objective, and it doesn't have to cost them anything to do it. All they have to do is share enough information so that we can identify what our wants and needs are and have the right vehicle to support those wants and needs. That's my job. I'm a product specialist. During this inquiry about their wants and needs, guess what I do not want to ask? What do you want to spend? Who are these people? I don't even know them. What right do I have to say to them, what do you want to spend? And it insults a lot of people who say to themselves, he doesn't have any right to ask me that. And they are correct. Why? Because if they're payment oriented, which most people are, not all, but most, at $300 a month for 36 months, what is that? At $300 a month times 12 months, what's that? It's a completely different number. If $300 a month times 60 is, what's that? So for 12 months, I've gone for $300 a month for $3,600, and times 60 months, $18,000. So how can I even put in the conversation a question that has no meaning to us, which is, what do you want to spend? The answer, as little as possible. What payment do you have in mind? I just had a range of payments. Which one do you want me to pick? I don't know. How many people say, what do you have between $3,600 and $16,000 or $18,000? Because the payments are the same. They don't even know that. So they don't focus on their purchasing power, because we have no objective. What do you plan on putting down? Nothing, if I can help it. Who wants to? Nobody. And by the way, you have that kind of a car. What do you want for the trade? Those questions are improper. They have no meaning at the interview, at the beginning of at the beginning of an interview. They have no meaning, no value. Why? Because we don't have the subject of the direction or the object of the conversation intact yet. Keeping the financial picture away from the customer. What would the payments be on that? Folks, as far as I'm concerned, whatever it takes to do business. What's my trade worth? Well, we're going to have a buyer look at it, be happy to, and that's when we will know what it's worth. Can't you give me an idea? Folks, I do not want to gamble with my customers' money, if you don't mind. So I like to have the facts together so that we can understand exactly what we're looking at, and then we can come up with all the figures that will be necessary for you to make a decision. Promise. So this is what I am first and most concerned about for a product specialist. Making sure that they handle the first aspects of the interview as a pro, not as an amateur. An amateur thinks about all these things, trying to figure out who a buyer is. They're not anybody because they haven't found a vehicle yet. The pro lets the deflection come into play when they start coming up with different statements or subjects that are not appropriate yet because we haven't found the right vehicle yet. So what does the pro do? The pro turns around and does what? Gets right back to the subject, which is what type of vehicle you're looking for. What features do you have in mind? This is what really counts. And all the other comments that they make about buying or not buying are not relevant.